Hello, Starcraft 2 fans, and welcome back to Day 5 of this tournament, SC2casts.com's first invitational, sponsored and brought to you, of course, by SC2casts.com, your source of info on all the most recent casts, commentators, events, and pro games. I'm your commentator once again for the tournament, Shiki SC, and this was brought to you by, and organized, of course, by StarcraftWorld.it. So thanks to them and the shoutouts, and this is going to be Day 5, Group A, Game 2 between MTW Dimaga, the Yellow Zerg, spawning at the 12 o'clock position here on Lost Temple, and it was loser picks the next map, so WhiteRa did choose this map. Of course, he disconnected from the first game, so whether he lost that game or not is debatable, but tournament rules is if you disconnect, the player that didn't disconnect does, of course, have the choice to take the win or not. So his opponent Duckload the red Protoss, is going to spawn here at the 6 o'clock position on Lost Temple. So cross positions in this PvZ matchup here on Lost Temple. And yeah, group... Oh, this says Day 6, but I think that's wrong, because I'm sure this says Day 5 for me. Anyways, little off topic. Dimaga is going to send his Overlord into the correct position for all Zerg scouting. You always want to send your Overlord to the 3 o'clock if you're at the 12, and of course if you're at the 6 you want to send it to the 9, and vice versa, yada yada. And he's going to need to use a drone scout because he's not going to see what WhiteRa is doing very early in the game because of this. He's going to send his next Overlord, it looks to be in the other direction to the 9 o'clock, and it looks like WhiteRa was going to be doing some type of fast expansion build, or maybe an early push if he can wall off properly, but we'll have to wait and see. But I am putting money on a fast expansion. He's putting down his first gateway, and then he's liable to put up a forge, finish it off with a pylon in the corner, and then more than likely wall off with a couple zealots, and then fast expand. But that allows him to put a cannon behind his gateway or his forge, and it allows him to get pot shots off on roaches that don't have quite enough range to take out the cannons. And the roaches, of course, if they are attacking the gateway, if the cannons are in the proper position, they can attack the roaches, but the roaches can't attack the cannons, so it's a really good wall against Zerg players. But I'm getting ahead of myself, as that is not even for sure what WhiteRa is going to do this game. Pulling up the production tab, we've got gas already underway, and he's not going to be quite heavy on gas to get that Zergling speed, but he's about halfway there, so that looks to be what he's going to be doing, unless he's going to be going to lair, but no. He's getting a queen, so the lair tech would be a little too delayed with having gas that early, so he's probably going to get metabolic boost, or maybe he'll go for a Baneling Nest, but I don't see Dimaga play a lot of Baneling play against Protoss. It's not really the best choice. 4 Zerglings coming out already, and they are about to take this probe down, but it is going to take them a while to get him killed, because the speed difference is just so little that yeah, it takes it a long time for the Zerglings to catch up and get enough hits to kill that probe. So that probe is going to lose that 5 minerals. That 1 Zergling is going to take him out. The 3 split off in another direction, whether they're going to go scout the base or whether they're going to take the Zelnaga Tower is left to be said. But no, he is going to go get some scouting. And WhiteRa, wow, choosing to get that Nexus before the Forge. So that's a little bit peculiar. I guess the idea with the Forge, though, is you don't want to get the Forge until you know you can afford the cannons. And if you are going to get the Gateway, the Forge, and complete your wall off before you get the expansion, then it's really not considered a fast expansion. And at that point, if the Zerg player did go fast expansion, he's going to be well ahead of the Protoss player. With Dimaga negating to get that fast expansion, it does mean that he will be able to put on some early pressure if he chooses to... Wow. Did somehow that probe live? Somehow he juked out that Zergling, because he still had that 5 minerals in his mouth, and he still had only the 5 health, and he was able to juke out that 1 Zergling and get back into the base for another scout. But he didn't see anything else. The natural expansion wasn't up yet, and there was no other tech buildings, and there was no lair incoming, so that probe was still wasted. Although you always want to know what the other player is doing. Dimaga here is attacking with most of his Zerglings, not quite all of them, leaving one out here to just patrol and probably kind of be that mine worker, that guy that just, the foreman, there you go, that just tells all his guys to work, work, work. So those destructible rocks will eventually fall, not anytime soon, because the armor is 3 on the rocks and the Zerglings only do 5 damage, so yeah, it takes a long time. Another probe coming in, and he is going to see the natural expansion this time. And if he gets close enough, he will see the lair tech, so he's going to expect Hydras or Mutas, or maybe some fast infester play, but this probe is unseen. He's going to get around the queen, so he's not going to get any attacks on him. He does see the second gas coming up, so he knows it's a fairly gas-intensive build. Well, actually, not very intensive, because he's just getting it just getting it now. But we'll have to see if he's going to go Mutas. He's probably going to get his second or third and fourth gas up right away. Back in WhiteRa's base, he did finish off this wall, well, sorta. He does have a little bit of a gap, but that Zealot could easily finish that off. The Cybernetics Core, Forge, and Gateway. The cannons are a little too close to the wall. Roaches could easily hit those cannons and break that wall, but ground level 1 upgrade is being researched out of the Forge. Stalker being chrono boosted. Is there anything for him even to kill? This Overlord may have been in range before, but that Stalker is not going to be able to get that kill off now. And looking at the income, I am curious. Yeah, WhiteRa does have a little bit of a disadvantage for workers, despite getting that expansion up well before Dimaga did. So Dimaga's already going on his third base now at the gold, and WhiteRa does not have the economic advantage, but he is on equal footing. He's throwing up a bunch of gateways and continually using that chrono boost. Very good job. He's saving up just a little. It's always good to have a little bit of extra energy in your Nexus. That way, if you need to use it in a pinch, you can. And it looks like 3 Zealots and a Stalker are going to get surrounded here. They were trying to take out this hatchery. They almost got it killed off, but these Zerglings are going to come and protect their home, their building, and their hatchery. So good job by him there. He is now chrono boosting. He finished chrono boosting the warp gate technology, and that is going to be all 5 warp gates. Wow, 6, 7 warp gates. This could be a very, very difficult push for Dimaga to deal with if he is not ready for it. WhiteRa, though, if he uses all these warp gate cooldowns, he will be almost supply locked. So he needs to throw up a couple more pylons, and he is doing so. One out here at the edge of the base. Although if you are going to be supply locked, I wouldn't bother running all the way out to the edge of your base to throw down a pylon. Just throw it down ASAP, get you those units out, put it anywhere near your workers, whatever you can do. So Dimaga here on 3 base to WhiteRa's 2 is going to be in a good position if he can get all 3 bases up and saturated, and if he can macro up some units. He does have his Hydralisk Den just finishing. He hasn't researched Groove Spines yet, or hasn't start researching yet, and he is actually going for a hive. So he got that infestation pit up first, and then went straight to a hive, and then got his Hydralisk Den up. So I'm not sure what he's going to be doing, if he's going to go for Ultralisks or Broodlords. No, it won't be Broodlords because he doesn't have a Spire. So it's going to be Ultras, and where is that cavern? It looks like he's spewing creep down here. Probably very likely to put that down right here. But I'll pull up the production tab because the income tab is boring. So the Protoss WhiteRa is researching ground armor 1 now, so weapons is done and armor is about halfway done, and WhiteRa is beginning to push out here with a ton of Stalkers, but bad positioning on that Stalkers allow these Zerglings to get a good surround and the Hydras to start picking them off one by one. But the Hydras off creep are going to be in a bad position here. A couple force fields taking them out, but it looks like WhiteRa is just not in good position. He was caught off guard before that pylon was done, warping in a bunch of Zealots now, but Zealots are not going to be the right unit to use against these Hydras if they do not have charge, which they do not. I don't even think he's got a Twilight Council, and these Zerglings are still just trying to get a surround off on the Stalkers, warping in more Stalkers here. If these Hydras can take out this pylon, Duckload Ra is going to be in a big disadvantage here, and that pylon does go down, so WhiteRa is going to have to fall back, but these Zerglings are just going to keep doing damage. WhiteRa trying to do a little bit of attack and move here. The pylon is finished here at his Xel'Naga Watchtower, so he can reinforce there. But now that Dimaga has his Xel'Naga Watchtower, he's going to see any incoming pushes, and it's going to force WhiteRa here to back up and just expand to another base, get on equal bases with the Zerg players, what you need to do. Once Zerg gets too far ahead of you in bases, it's going to be a really big problem to come back. And it looks like the Evolution Chamber is researching ground level attack 1, but I don't see... Oh, here it is. The Ultralisk Cavern is almost finished. 550 health out of 600, so those Ultras will be queued up ASAP. There's quite a few minerals and gas banked up for that, so as soon as that Ultra Cavern finishes, yeah, we've got 1 Ultralisk in production. Probably another one, yes. He has not researched the extra armor for the Ultralisks yet, but I'm sure that will be something that he will research ASAP as well, because with that armor, the Zealots don't do nearly as much damage. Of course, Zealots do 2 attacks per round of attacks, I guess you'd want to say. And the armor, of course, gets a double effect from that. So trying to put up another forward pylon here, takes the Xel'Naga Watchtower, make sure there's nothing incoming, and now he's going to push out with a Guardian Shield. He does take out a couple Hydras. He would probably do good to come and take out this expansion and maybe throw up some force fields to stop any of the Hydras from reinforcing. But if he did that, the Hydras would probably just go straight for this pylon, but they cannot do that right now. I'm not sure if I would continue using Stalkers without Blink against these Hydras. They're just not a good counter. But it looks like WhiteRa is going to be in a bad position here. The Ultralisks are popping out, and they get a good surround here on the Stalkers, but the Stalkers doing bonus damage to the Ultralisks are going to take them out fairly quick. But we've got a full health Ultralisk here just mowing through these units. Took out all those Zealots, and now they're just mowing through the armored units, doing the splash damage, of course, to these Stalkers. WhiteRa trying to split his forces up, but these Hydras, while the Ultras are taking all the damage, the Hydras are just dealing all of the DPS that he needs to take out WhiteRa's forces. And right now, if we look at the units lost tab, we do have Dimaga in a great advantage here. So WhiteRa still trying to continue just warping in more and more units, but it's not going to be a good situation for him, because now that Dimaga held off the first initial attack, he's going to be able to reinforce a lot faster than WhiteRa can. Although WhiteRa does have that 7 gateways, it's just not going to be enough. He needs to Chrono Boost as much as he can, bank up his army a little bit better, get some force fields out from some sentries, and split up some of this army. Of course, if Dimaga is good enough with his Ultralisks, he can use the Ultras to break down the force fields and allow his Hydras and Zerglings to get more in. And wow, Duckload Raw does GG, so he wasn't getting harassed. Nothing else was really happening. But he does choose that does say that because he couldn't get his high yield up, he just GG's out. And with disconnecting in the first game, I'm pretty sure he was a little disappointed in the series. But Dimaga does take that series 2-0. And next up, I do believe we've got more from Group A. And I'll have to see who that is. But anyways, see you next series.